Hey everyone, let's jump right into this. We live in a world that literally screams at us 24/7 that ultimate gain comes from more, right? More money, more stuff, more influence, the applause. We are so obsessed with the hustle, just running on this endless, exhausting treadmill of side gigs and social media clout. But what if the wealth we're so desperately chasing is actually making us poorer? In this explainer, we're diving into an ancient text that completely flips our modern idea of success right on its head. We're going to discover heaven's formula for true wealth. Honestly, the ultimate cure for all our modern exhaustion and that restless ambition we feel is found right here in 1 Timothy 6:6. Now, godliness with contentment is great gain. Just think about that phrase for a second. Great gain. According to this text, true wealth isn't measured by what's in your hand alone, but by what's in your heart. You could literally have very little and still be incredibly rich in peace and joy and purpose. Or, on the flip side, you could have a massive bank account and still be totally bankrupt in your soul, just restless and empty inside.
So let's look at section 1. The two formulas. The world versus heaven.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how perfectly it contrasts these two deeply different ways to measure success. The world's formula is basically greed plus opportunity. It's that exhausting modern chase we all know too well, sacrificing your peace for the next promotion, trying to get that viral post, or constantly upgrading to a bigger house. But heaven's formula? It's contentment plus godliness. The text tells us that these two things together equal great gain. It's a completely different kind of math. It's telling us that lasting profit before God isn't about expanding your earthly empire, it's about cultivating a rich, peaceful heart.
Which brings us to section 2. Contentment, the satisfied heart.
So, what exactly does a satisfied heart look like? Well, first, let's clear up a huge misconception right off the bat. Contentment is not laziness. It's not a lack of ambition, and it certainly isn't just giving up on life. Actually, it's the grace to trust God's provision. Meaning, you can be perfectly happy driving a 5-year-old car and just having a quiet weekend at home without complaining, comparing, or coveting. It's the settled confidence that God knows exactly what you need and when to provide it. The text points us to Hebrews 13:5, reminding us to be content with what we have because God promised to never leave us. Honestly, contentment just naturally grows the moment we stop measuring our lives against other people and start measuring the faithfulness of God in our own lives.
But when we lack that trust, well, we basically open the front door to envy, murmuring, bitterness, and anxiety. Constantly measuring our real, messy, everyday lives against those heavily filtered social media highlight reels is just a fast track to misery. Think about it. If your joy just rises and falls with your Amazon deliveries, your soul is literally being controlled by temporary things. A contented believer might not have everything they want, sure, but they know they have the God who supplies all their needs, and that fills the heart with peace and slams the door shut on that restless anxiety.
Okay, section 3, godliness, a God-centered life.
Now we have to be careful here, because contentment without godliness, that just leads to comfortable stagnation. So, what is godliness? The crucial point the text makes is that it means living in reverence for God and reflecting His nature. It is definitely not about religious performance or, putting on a show for your peers. It's about deep spiritual transformation. Stuff you see in a person's integrity, their humility, their purity, compassion, and obedience. 1 Timothy 4:8 tells us that godliness is profitable for all things. It holds value right now on earth and in eternity. A godly life might not always get the world's applause, but it absolutely attracts divine approval. It keeps you grounded when success hits and super steady when the hard trials come. I want you to ask yourself a really tough question right now. Just think about this. Does my life reflect Christ when no one is watching? Are you pursuing holiness as seriously as you pursue success?
I know, it's a tough mirror to look into because it is entirely possible to impress everyone around you, to have the killer job, the gorgeous house, all the applause, and still completely disappoint God. But when you walk in genuine godliness in your private life, your public life just naturally becomes this undeniable testimony. Moving on to section 4, the trap, the snare of empty pursuits. There is a massive warning in this text that we simply can't ignore. We really have to understand the profound dangers of putting earthly wealth above our souls. Look at this single sentence. It's the great equalizer. We brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. I mean, this powerful truth absolutely destroys human pride. It completely humbles our modern obsession with gathering more and more stuff. You can build the biggest empire in the world, but as they say, you can't pack it in a U-Haul behind your hearse. Great gain isn't about your financial portfolio increasing, it's about spiritual wealth, because that is literally the only wealth that crosses the threshold of eternity. The text clearly warns us that the desire to get rich can so easily become a snare. Now, to be clear, money itself is not evil. It's just a tool. But the love of money, that is incredibly dangerous. Why? Well, because it competes directly with God for your heart. When gain becomes your God, godliness just naturally starts to fade. When cravings control you, your contentment completely disappears. The source material notes that so many people have severely injured their faith, their families, their peace, and their ultimate destiny, all because they spent their entire lives chasing what could never, ever truly satisfy them. All right, section 5, daily habits, cultivating true wealth. Okay, let's dive into this and see how we can actively build these eternal riches today. So, how do we apply heaven's formula in our daily, chaotic, modern lives? The text offers 4 super actionable daily habits. Step 1, stop comparing and coveting. Like actively break the habit of doom scrolling just to see what everyone else has. Step 2, thank God for daily bread. Learn to find simple gratitude for a roof over your head or even just a warm cup of coffee in the morning. Seriously, simple gratitude is the very language of contentment. Step 3, pursue holiness sincerely with real discipline and joy. And step 4, actively value eternal riches way above temporary possessions. Seek first the kingdom of God and let literally every other blessing find its proper secondary place. When we actually apply those daily habits, we experience an incredible paradigm shift away from all that empty gain. See, if you claim godliness but don't have contentment, you just end up being religious yet restless, just constantly chasing what never satisfies. But when contentment and godliness finally meet in a surrendered life, that's when you step into true riches. We're talking about a clean conscience, a quiet heart, real strength in adversity, peace during the storms, and the hope of eternal reward. A person like that simply cannot be impoverished because heaven has already heavily invested in their life. To wrap things up, I really want to leave you with this haunting, deeply memorable question from Jesus in Mark 8:36. For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? The absolute greatest tragedy in life isn't dying poor in possessions. The greatest tragedy is dying empty of God. So as you head out into your week, ask yourself, are you chasing the empty gain of this world, or are you actively cultivating the great gain of a satisfied heart and a God-centered life? Keep learning, keep reflecting, and let's start pursuing true riches together.
Please like, share, and subscribe to Master Sense by Faraday, and turn on notifications so you don't miss new and upcoming videos. Drop a comment below and tell us what you'd like to see next.